I just had wisdom from older people telling me that this isn't the route that you should go down. And like a lot of teenagers, I made the mistake of neglecting that and just going down it anyway. I wish I would have listened, and I wish I did have the ability to discern that knowledge to be like, yes, this is right. But yeah, it was just me dipping my toe in the water, honestly. I never really immersed myself in it at all. But I think I did have a consciousness of self to realize like, hey, I don't think what they're doing is the best thing for me, but you're right, peer pressure is the ultimate sucker. And normal teenage behavior, you know, girls and drinking and parties, and obviously myself being someone that went down the sports route, that's glorified, especially in Australia. And obviously here in the US, I think that being a really top tier athlete at a young age gave me the platform to really exercise a lot of popularity. A lot of things that, looking back, I just wish I had the ability to say no to. But I was very much in the trap of loving the attention and loving the popularity and being the, for lack of a better word, jock of the school. And I think that is the route that kind of led me down there. And yeah, I just fell into, a lot of sin that I wish it's a part of me, and it's obviously the baggage I carry around, but I just wish I could have avoided it, but it's part of my story now. Regular high school activity with my friends, going to parties, playing a lot of sport. I transferred high schools from a selective sports high school, kind of like an IMG Academy of Australia, and I went to a Catholic all-boys high school, thinking that would be a better move, but again, I went there thinking that would kind of connect me more spiritually, and it just led me in the complete opposite direction, because I realized that not everyone at a Catholic school is actually following the religion. So I just went through high school, just hanging out with my friends, doing things that I shouldn't have been doing, and then committed to go play baseball at Cal State Bakersfield in Central California. And that was kind of when the height of my partying and girls and drinking, all that kind of stuff was really reaching its kind of mountaintop. And that summer of 2021, after my freshman year, I went to Central Washington to play summer ball for the Wenatchee Apple Sox. And the gym that we were working at is where I met a girl called Savannah, who is now my fiance, and she introduced me to Christianity, and that is where I kind of stopped head on in my tracks, and that's when the Lord came down and turned out my heart of stone for a heart of flesh. And that is where, I guess, in some cases, one story ended and this chapter began, and ever since then I've gave my life to the Lord, and I've never regretted it. I've heard a lot of different stories about people who's coming to know the Lord moment and might have taken some time and they might have felt some tugs, but for me it was getting punched in the face. Like straight away I broke down crying one night after Halloween, came to Washington State, so committed to Washington State to follow Savannah, and I was in the transfer portal anyway, so that just worked out perfectly. I loved Washington, loved Pullman, so I came out here to Washington State, and that fall was where it really hit me. And that one night I just fell down crying on the floor of my bedroom, just sick of running, sick of being 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and not truly giving my life to the Lord, knowing that I should have to fully lay it down. And that's what Scripture had told me, and that's what I knew, I felt in my heart, was that He required and He deserved all of me, not just a little bit. And so that's when I gave Him everything that I have. And since then, it's been just an absolute journey. And it really honestly hasn't been that long. That was only 3 years ago. So in the really small, in the large scheme of things, it hasn't been that long, but it feels like a lifetime, because my experience with the Lord has been, the sanctification that has happened over those 3 years has been radical. Like, I'm not even close to being the same person that I was only 3 years ago. And I'm grateful for that, because Jesus's cleansing of me wasn't, okay, we'll give you some time, we'll kick this out, kick that out. It was like, dude, you're done. I was like, I'm done. I just think it's the Spirit. I just think the Spirit grabbed me in a way that I don't know if anyone else has been, if this is everyone's story, but I can only speak for myself, that I just think the Spirit, as they say, don't begrudge the nudge. For me, the nudge was just so strong that it was honestly ignoring a pink elephant in the room. I just couldn't ignore it anymore, and I couldn't For a person that had read minimal scriptures in their life and who really their head knowledge of Jesus was very, very elementary, I felt that I knew what the right thing to do was, and that was the Spirit telling me that I needed to lay it all down. And I was getting wisdom from people around me. I had a really good teammate named Cole McMillan, who was a faithful believer that took me under his wing, a couple years older than me, who actually is now a youth pastor in Texas. And he just helped me. Same with Savannah. I just had people around me that were telling me like, hey, the Lord deserves everything that you have. For me, it was just easy to be like, okay, I'm gonna give you all I have, because for me, there was no benefit and there was nothing to gain by having one foot in, one foot out, professing something, then living something else, right? Like, you're right, it is a really hard process for some, and it might take a while. And that is the beauty of it, is that you run your race at your own pace and the pace that the Lord dictates. But for me, I think the way that I was heading, I was on a collision course, and I just needed to really be smacked really hard, and I'm grateful that I did. Jesus means everything to me. Jesus is all I have, all I want. He has given me life, he really has. He's given me a beautiful fiance that I would never have had the opportunity of meeting, which I truly believe that meeting her was a part of the plan, and she was the one that introduced me to Jesus. So I'm so glad that he used her, and now we're getting to enter into marriage together. I think he's introduced so much life through friends, faithful friends that love the Lord. The ability to minister to 40 guys on a daily basis. My view of baseball got completely flipped. I came here with a dream to play professional baseball and to do everything for me and to play in Dodger Stadium one day, and everything was for me. And now I'm about to graduate. I'm very, very happy to know that baseball for me was a ministry avenue to spend every day in and out in a locker room with 40 guys that majority of them don't know the Lord. So for me, that is the greatest ministry avenue that I could have had at this age, and I know not a lot of people are blessed to do that. So everything for me just got flipped on its head. And when someone says Jesus to me, that tells me that there's life, and that tells me that there's hope, and that just tells me that there's just life-changing power in his name, because that's what it's been for me. It honestly has changed my life. So if that's happened in 3 years, I can't imagine what's going to happen in the next 30 or 50. I think the instant gratification early on of feeding my flesh and living a life that was glorifying to me and that felt good was like hitting a home run. It really was. It was like hitting a home run every week, every weekend, earning money at a job and then going that weekend and spending it at a bar. It felt like a home run, and I was being fed by society every weekend that you were hitting home runs. Like I really did feel like I was hitting home runs, and that the friends that I had around me and everyone was telling me like how good I was. And I think flipping that on its head, the true beauty of being a Christian is that I think the further along you are, you realize that it's very open to me that the more mature believers I've met is they'll be the first ones to tell you how good they aren't versus how good they are. And I think that for me was realizing that all the things that I felt like were hitting home runs, the truth just came. The curtains got rolled back and the truth came out, and it was like a deep sense of relief, and in a sense hitting another home run of realizing that what the circles that I was going in were leaving me so unhappy. It was instant pleasure, unhappiness, instant pleasure, unhappiness, instant. And that circle just left me so unfulfilled. And now constantly having my cup just filled and overflowed by Jesus is just truly the most gratification I'll ever get. And it's not anything of the flesh, it's of the heart, and it's of Jesus.